Here are the biggest top 10 fashion trends for fall 2025. So many aesthetics going on, and colors and prints and actual aesthetic themes that I'm going to review with you. But most importantly, I have waited a little bit longer for these trends to come in to make sure that what I pick is filtered out for you and it is wearable and also age appropriate. So if you're in late 30s, 40s and above, this video is for you. Welcome back to Chicquette. I'm Paula. You can reach me directly and book a call for a one-on-one Zoom session linked down below for you. So let's get started with this fall's biggest fashion trends. The first trend we're going to talk about is the town and country chic. This is your classic English aesthetic inspired by the runways like Burberry, Louis Vuitton, and of course Ralph Lauren. Expect to see tartan handbags. We also see the earthy tones, the long full skirts, and the luxurious outerwear. You can pair a corduroy dress with the wellies, which are the rubber boots. You can also pair a checkered shirt with a tank top underneath. So any version of the earthy tones that are very fall-like and inspired by the countryside, but a more elevated, luxurious version of it because it's all about the material, the fall, thick, earthy material. Moving on to the next trend, eclectic minimalism. What does that mean? Well, basically a different, slightly elevated type of minimalism. And here we see Victoria Beckham on a runway. Great example, as always. I think this is sort of her signature style. We also see the Row and Prada show us examples of this. Here, what you want to do is add oddball layering, perhaps asymmetry, or slightly elevated shoulders, not padded, but elevated in the way it is sewn. Princess Kate has shown this example for the last couple of weeks over and over again. And one great addition that I have for you, which I absolutely love, I find so interesting, are the shirts with scarves attached. So this eclectic theme has a little bit of interest added to a minimalistic design that is mostly monochromatic. So you want to stand out slightly through minimal design additions. Preppy Academia. This is a new one and sort of a redo of the old versions. However, this round, it's more about the graduate students type of atmosphere, which is preppy, but also more sophisticated and more grown up. What does that mean? Vests. A lot of vests you can layer on top of a button-up shirt. I love the look of just popping out the collar and then have a vest over it. The wool slacks are also part of this category. Love wool for the fall season. It is so chic, especially if you have a nice tailored look. It just goes with everything. And for feet, you're going to cover them with a leather brogues. You can also play around with vests and blazers on top. Great addition as well. And you can just throw on a vest on a dress. If you have a shirt dress, an additional item you can bring in here is a combination with the long pleated skirts. I think these are just sort of staples, at least they are in my wardrobe. Moving on to the next trend, elevated athleisure. Athleisure is sort of just here to stay. And so we see this category as its own lifestyle trend. And this season, we're going to see the elevated version of it. So remove the old leggings that you have. In fact, put them away deep in your closet because it is time to take out the joggers. We're looking for a slightly more relaxed fit. Also, the jackets are becoming more elevated. Think about the long neck jackets paired with more casual joggers that are relaxed. Of course, it's all about the sneakers again. So you want to stay with a sporty look, but make it look more like streetwear. And so how do you take it to the next level? By investing in athletic jackets and track pants. Quick tip, don't underestimate the chicness of a nice wool or cashmere sweater with a funnel-like jacket, and still you have the joggers. So super chic, casual, yet very stylish. Next, we have the Moody Lace. This is a very romantic, almost gothic type of look. Think black and white, or mostly black, because we're going into fall and sort of darker colors. This is a very vintage inspired trend that sort of gives you that slight sheer see-through look, so you can embrace it as well. And I'm gonna give you a couple of tips. Depending on your comfort level, you can wear an open dress with obviously a top underneath and with jeans. So pretend that it's an overlayer, like a sweater or like a top that's open. You can like button it halfway through and just leave it open. Another version is, if you have a lined dress, to just wear long boots above your knee. It is so chic and so romantic, and at the same time you have the lace with halfway coverage, but you're not actually showing anything. Super, super chic. Love this. Moving on to the Equestrian Boho, you are going to see a lot of these details incorporated. This is your horse girl look, which came back. We've had that last year as well. So if you have pieces, you might want to bring them right back. Key pieces here are the riding boots, the bold hardware. You also have the actual barn jackets and the vintage inspired floral dresses. And a perfect example here on how to style this is to pair knee-high boots, again, with a lace skirt perhaps, and a plaid jacket or sweater on top for a more softer look. And of course, we have the rich lady leather. My goodness, I don't think I've seen as much leather as we've seen this season. Imagine just top to bottom leather. And one of the reasons why I like it, and it makes it so easy to style, is because we see pieces that we don't normally see, but now made out of leather. So one of my favorites is a leather jacket or blazer, which usually we see textile and or wool, and now it's made out of leather. It's so edgy and chic. Love this look. Additionally, we are going to see shirt dresses top to bottom, again made out of leather. We see shorts, and not any shorts, but the Bermuda shorts, which we've worn all summer long. Now they are in leather as well. We also have the luxurious bomber jackets, which are really puffy and reminds me so much of the 80s and 90s. And then of course the long trench coats, all made out of leather. So depending on your comfort level, you probably already have one of these in your wardrobe, so bring it back out and style it with something from this season, and you're going to look oh so chic. And now let's talk about color as well, because the next trend is all about burgundy. It's one of those colors that I don't think we see enough of. It goes great with most skin tones and with everything else you have for the fall collection, because it's one of those browns, yellows. It just goes with the whole fall foliage type of color. We usually see it in a very small portion in the outfits in plaid, for example. So if burgundy is your color, aubergine, any sort of shade that is on the cooler tone, this is the time to invest, because a lot of the brands are now recreating their signature pieces in burgundy shades. And let me tell you firsthand, it is pretty difficult to find burgundy pumps, for example, or a burgundy leather jacket or blazer, or even leather pants if you want in burgundy. So all for it this season, and I highly recommend you invest in a couple of pieces to elevate your everyday fall collection. Moving away from colors, let's talk about animal prints. Last year we had the leopard, and this year, my friend, it's all about the zebra. So imagine zebra coats and handbags and jackets and pants and shoes and anything you can think of, we now see in zebra pattern. I find this trend much easier to style because it's black and white. You probably already have black, and so you don't have to do an overhaul of additional pieces to match. Perhaps invest in a handbag or scarf, or maybe a hair accessory. And the last fabulous trend is the fur, the full fur. Here we've seen on our runways plenty of examples of oversized, out of this world, rock star type of fur coats. And this is inspired by the 60s and the 70s. You can also incorporate this in a more subtle way if you're using a shawl. You can also have just trimmings around the coat or your jacket and have shorter versions as well. I find faux furs to be just fabulous for winter season, especially when you're going to the theater, when you have a more elevated type of look. And so if you're a fur lover, this is the time to bring it out. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your favorite trend coming up this season that you want to try out? Comment below and share with us as well. Coming up next, I have more tips for you on how to elevate your everyday style. I'll see you there.